right, so how you guys doing? Everyone doing good? You having fun? You enjoying being a model railroader? Because right now I am not. Urgh! I knew this crossing was going to be the death of me. All right, so I'm trying to work on this. Haven't done much yet with all the linkages and stuff because I kind of realized I need to get the, like I said, get the gates in. In order to do that, I kind of have to have them at the right height. In order to do that, I have to know what I'm going to do with road and curb and how high things are going to be. So I got a plan for that. So what I was starting was putting in the wood for the crossing. Well, that's all well and good. I had them all cut and look per the prototype. They're kind of a faded gray color. That's great. You even got that siding in. Look at that. Looks nice, huh? Yeah, it's a piece of crap. Doesn't work. The problem is, well, two things. A, I got a little bit aggressive with the super glue, and it kind of wicked up into the flanges. And even the way this is here, the flanges are way too close. I did not even think that. I just thought that'd be no problem. Nope. With even with the standard RP25. This crossing with those, putting them in like that looks fine. It looks prototypical. Looks good and looks okay. I was gonna fix it up. It looks nice. Yeah, wrong. Because it makes it over it, but I can feel it hitting, and it definitely would derail. And in fact, that car, when I ran it through, it did derail. So I'm gonna have to come in and do all kinds of picking. I've been doing it here, actually for about 45 minutes. Picking out the flanges in here because I got super glue in there and it's bouncing and it's still a little bit too tight because it looks like it goes across the crossing okay. That looks, it doesn't look that bad, right? No, I can feel it, and you can see it bump here and there. I don't know if it will when I'm videotaping, but I've done a fair amount of cleanup work. It basically is a combination of two things. The wood pieces are a little bit closer than I thought, so the flange isn't quite as big. The flanges don't hit, but the wheels do. The wheels tend to ride up on them, so I got to open it up a little bit. And then I had too much super glue, especially on this cross. This one wasn't that bad. The super glue got in there, filled the flanges up, and of course it goes bounce, 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 bounce. So it was frustrating. So I'm about to give this up and become a, I don't know, what can I do for a hobby besides this? Basket weaving? Play the Xbox? Really frustrating. So, got to do a bunch of cleanup work. Just thought I'd show that if you're going to do something and you're going to be a real model railroader like me and make it like the prototype. Yeah, that's great, but be careful because when you start doing that kind of stuff, this is what happens. I really just sort of maybe just bought a Woodland Scenics or a BLMA crossing, put it in and be done with it, and not try to be freaking so fancy. All right, well, we'll get back at it. We'll try to get this cleaned up. And like I said, what I wanted to do was get all these wood pieces in and then get done in between here, have that all done, and then start working on. So I have a plan for how I'm going to kind of put some curb in, sidewalk, and then figure out exactly how high they have to be, they being the crossing gates and everything. And then once that's in and I can set those signals at the right level, start doing all this shenanigans. So, all right, just a little bit of a whine session, just a caution. Again, I really kind of screwed this up. Big mistake, but again, we try to show you everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And trust me, it's been more ugly today than anything else, but we'll fix it up and we'll keep working. Okay, well, I did some work on the crossing. I think I got it saved here. It was third down and 25, but we got a first down. Wasn't pretty, but we got there. I did just clean out some more in the flange. I brought a file in and kind of filed a little bit to make the flange way width a little bit better. And now it works fine for the for US, or let's say RP25 equipment. No issues, nothing, nice and smooth. It's like it's not even there. And even for the European stuff, so when they bring one of those over, It's a little bit, again, because of the flanges, but it'll be fine. All right, so now, and I got the outside parts done. I got the outside little piece in here, and then the other piece, that's all glued up and done. So now, what I'm working on is how I'm going to tie all this together, and again, to get the signals to the right level. All right, so based on the prototype, there's the actual prototype. You can definitely see there's a curb. It comes up, I can't point, and goes to grass, sidewalk, and then back to grass. Okay, so that sidewalk is above the level of the road, roughly by the height of the curb. So if I didn't do something, if I just tried to lay a sidewalk in here, and I do want to have the curb, it wouldn't work. The level wouldn't be right. All right, so what I'm thinking of doing is I have some curbs from Prizer. They're not bad. They are painted up concrete color because they give you a nice little level there. So if I put them in just on the outside of this road, which was already there, that's smooth it. I put them in, and then I bring a piece of the 2mm foam just for level in right to the back of it, okay? And then I can lay in something as that strip of grass. What I think works best is the Hecky grass mat. It's nice and thin. It levels off pretty good. I was thinking about maybe the sill floor grass, but that's a little bit thicker. And if I put the foam in there, it just comes out a little bit too high. And then I have these I have these sidewalks, which I forget exactly where they're from. I don't know if they're going to show up okay. Maybe if I change the aperture a little bit. They come with a curb in the front, but I cut them off. I use these as well as the pathway, walkway for the ranch house. And that sits in there kind of nice. It levels off pretty nice. And it kind of matches good with this. And then on this side, I can do whatever I need to match it into the other scenery. Because here in this corner, in the real world, the sidewalk actually kind of curves a little bit more, and I can always put a little 90 in it down here and walk it along. There's like a little park here. There's some benches, a couple trees. I was going to simulate that. There's actually a gazebo. I'm thinking of scratch building, and then where these lovely weights are is right about where the station is, the Lake City Diner. I'm sorry, the All Aboard Diner. And that's the train station I want to scratch build to put there. So that's not a problem. I can make that match however I need to. In fact, what used to be here in this corner was a caboose, an old railroad caboose that was an ice cream store. So maybe I could do something. That was kind of cool too. It's gone now, unfortunately. You can imagine Steve and I love to go there. Ice cream, benches, railroad. Man, it was like heaven on earth. All right, so this might work out okay. Same thing on this side, and then that house is going to sit here with the stairs to the sidewalk. So I could kind of duplicate that on this side. That keeps things nice and level. The road, the curb, everything works out good. And then what I would probably do, I taper these down because you can look at the picture. It might be hard to see, but there at the end, that curb, see how the road slopes up? So the curb kind of runs into the road, or vice versa, as it slopes up to the crossing. So to simulate that, I kind of tapered this one end. Let me see if I can, might be a little bit darker, but probably can see without blowing the highlights. And then what I'm thinking of doing is using Smooth It to transition from here up to here. I can get the Smooth It, mix it up, and I can, carefully bring it up right along here, because this actually then kind of comes out a little bit. And if I use Smooth It here, here, and here, that might give me the ability to work that in pretty well. I wasn't going to, so I didn't want to mess up this wood, but we'll see. And then between here and here, again, either do it with Smooth It, or maybe a piece of the foam that I might be able to cut to fit in there. And on this side, you're going to have to do the same type of thing. Well, you can see the road's not here yet. So maybe put that in first. So I can do the stuff with the curb and the sidewalk, similar to that side. So a lot to think about, but it's important. You got to think about this because, again, if I had just done this, the sidewalk would not be at the right level. It just would have been weird. I'd have a curb here, and the grass would have been way too low, and the sidewalk too low. So, like, what in the world do you do? So that's why I'm coming up with this idea to put the foam on, which levels things nicely across there. And he gets the road with the curb, like the prototype has, and then it's just a matter of thinking, exactly what do I want to use for the road itself coming across the crossing. I think smooth it from here to work it up so I can blend it and work it out. Maybe even smooth it in here, then I can kind of simulate, because the prototype doesn't end where the timbers end. It actually comes out beyond it a little bit, so I could do that easier. I think we'll smooth it than with foam or something like, or a sheet of styrene or something in between. That wouldn't be that bad, just slap some smooth it in there. So, and then that's here, and then this bigger area, again, that could be smooth it. That probably could be a piece of foam that I could cut, but then you got to worry about matching the paint and everything. Well, that can all be done. So, all right, now we're going to come a long-winded way to say you got to look ahead a little bit, sometimes more than I do, but at least in this case, I am thinking about it. What I'm going to do for this, since it was such a pain, I had to rip out the inside ties in here. They just weren't going to work, the timbers. And now it's fine. Now everything clears good. So what I'm going to say is I'm not going to worry about trying to space it with timbers being back way too far. What I'm going to say is, the railroad came along and they agreed to work on that crossing. They fixed it up. They said, hey, this is a private crossing really for an industry that's going to be there. You guys are responsible for that, or you are, or PennDOT, or somebody. We're not going to worry about it. So the town's like, what? What are you talking about? So they said, we don't have the money for that. So they went to this guy and said, hey, you got to pay to fix this crossing. And he said, I don't got the money for that. I went to PennDOT, and PennDOT said, nah, that's a private contract. They're a private industry. They got to pay for it. So no one's got the money to do anything. So what they decided to do was they had a paving job, and they just came in here, and instead of putting these timbers in, they just poured some asphalt in there and gouged it out, because it's not really used a whole lot. Now I'll have to make it workable because I do want to use the siding, and that's my story for how this is going to be fixed up to make it look okay. I have no idea if that's the way it would work in real life, but hey, what the heck. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We'll keep working away here, and we'll see how things look a little bit later. All right, quick in progress. Got a fair amount done last night. The foam levelers are down on this side. Then I actually put the piece in between the main line and the siding, and I did the first layer of smooth it for the road, similar to this side. So now what I can do is put the curbs in, the foam leveling pieces on this side, so everything's level, and then work on the smooth it in here, matching it up to here, here, and then matching it up on this side. So that shouldn't be all that bad. That's kind of a look how it's gonna be with the. Let's see if I can get that to show up. Maybe a little bit dark, but it's not blowing out the highlights. So at least according to the viewfinder. So the grass, sidewalk. Like I said, I might do something up there to bring it up a little ways until it gets to the parking lot for the restaurant. And then this little bad boy won't stay up, but boop. Then the house, like I said, coming down, that's going to sit right there. So everything's all nice and level now. Now everything's lines up properly. I might do a little bit something here to bring this. This is where the hut is. Jabba the Hut. No, the little railroad structure for the crossing sits here. So I might want to put this a piece of cork, and then kind of, because it looks like they kind of brought asphalt down part of it, then it turns to gravel to go back to that. So I might do that. This side I'll just blend down into the scenery. I got to figure out on this side where I want to do the entrance into the building that's going to be here, and maybe have again something when it comes down past the crossing structure, the gravel that runs along the railroad. All right, so getting there. We'll see how things progress, but kind of gives you an idea how we're trying to envision this. I got the flat car here. Like I said, everything works pretty good through the crossing. And that sod is pretty heavy, so I needed a flat car for it. Just kidding. But, alright, so moving along. We'll come back as we make more progress. Alright, so things are drying up over on the layout. So here's another detail I wanted to try to get to, just to make a little segment of it here. So, see, that is the end of the sidewalk, right before the grade crossing. There's that little, I don't know what it is, access to something. It is in the sidewalk. It is raised dimples, I'll call them, not normal safety tread. And I thought, I wonder if I could, somehow come up with that. It looks kind of cool. My initial thought was, well, first of all, do I have something in the workshop? Didn't immediately find something. Then I was thinking of like the safety tread for locomotives. I think Cannon & Company makes it. I see Precision Scale makes some and whatnot, and I don't have any of that. But a lot of that stuff is the diamond shaped. So I started fumbling around through my scrap bins and came up with this. This might be hard to see. This is left over from the Tichy double track bridge. And it's part of the plates that went on the bridge, and they're rivets. The pattern is not perfect, but I was like, not too bad. In fact, the width of it looks pretty good. So actually what I did was I cut one out, and I got it there in the end of the sidewalk. I think it looks okay. I mean, it's not perfect. The pattern is a lot more coarse. There's a lot more dimples on the prototype than there are on this. Yeah, but who cares? Figures the phone always rings when you're trying to do something. Alright, so I cut out the end of the sidewalk very carefully and got that placed in there. I think it actually looks, not too bad. So, the other, I think there's four. There are four drying up. I just primered them with the automotive primer. Might just leave it like that because it's close. Or I do have a Humbrol paint that's kind of the bluish, it's kind of got like a bluish gray color to it. So I don't know, maybe I'll throw that on there just for fun. So alright, so there's a little detail we're going to add. Again, not perfect, but again, just trying to get things that look like the prototype. Things you want to see and observe and try to add to your model. Pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to work on this and then get back out there and start getting some more stuff done on the crossing. Alright, we're set up here for the mud, aka smooth it. I forgot I just kind of show this and just show my thoughts, and I don't know if any of this is going to make sense, but this is what I did. So I have the area here. This is going to be the one area that I need to smooth it. Basically from the tracks down to where the grass and sidewalk are going to be. And then what I did, I'm just thinking it's going to be easier for me, I put a piece across there, because that way, to me, I can then either sand it or let it set and try to smooth it. I just don't think, if I didn't have that there, I'd be trying to feather the whole length of the road, and I just would struggle with that. I know I would. I'm not really good at this finesse type stuff. So, just trying to get this thing so you can see better. We'll go with that. I know it's blowing out the white stuff. Alright, and then we got to put some here, here, here. This is all good. Here. Then did the same thing on this side with the area here, down on the road, and then up to there. Alright, and then what I did, I made a bunch of different screeds up. I have one screed or scraper. This is for in between the tracks. It's cut to the right size. Then I have one for between the two sets of tracks. It's cut to the right size. I got a bigger one. That's pretty much the whole thing. And another one that's kind of set up a little. It's similar to the other one, but a little bit easier to handle coming around this curve section here. So those are ready to go. And then what I put in, I was thinking about it, and when you do this kind of stuff, you're going to be pulling excess over, and it's going to dump on the other side of your tape. And I don't really want it to stick there, because this stuff, I mean, when it sets, it's rock hard, and it can be hard to get off, and I just don't want to deal with it. So what I did was I cut cardboard up and that's here on the outside. So when I do all that, all I have to do is just kind of pull these pieces away, and it won't be stuck on the road, won't be stuck on the, you know, the foam around the signals and that kind of stuff. So that's what all this white stuff is there. It's just ready to go, sitting there, held down. So when I'm done, I can just pull it out of the way and bring all the excess with it. Okay, so that's the setup. And again, it's not a whole lot of area to do. Probably won't take that long, but it took a while to get set up. And that's usual, right? So let's go ahead and get this done. All right, quick in progress. Not done yet. I did want to get all the forms pulled out. Still needs to be sanded quite a bit, but I did work a little bit on the flange ways and make sure that even got our European buddy to fit there on the siding. So that's good. And I made sure that our grass carrying flat car clears on both tracks. That's good. I guess this needs a lot of work. Hasn't been quite 24 hours yet, so I didn't want to get in there and start sanding, you know, start going medieval on it just yet. Needs a lot of cleanup, but like I said, I got the flange ways cleared. I want to kind of set the sidewalk and grass, just to kind of get an idea how things are going to sit. I still need to work on the transition from here down to here, because again, I didn't put a ramp on that. I can see it probably even better on this side. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Use some fast and final, or try to sanding it might not look right, but I might be able to. I don't know, I was always thinking if I tried to spackle it, if I came from the back side, might be, you know, a little bit easier to put a little bit of slope on it. Or maybe, hey, maybe use a wedge. I don't know. So it's getting there. A lot of work, really messy. I'm not the neatest person with plaster, so got this little runoff here to go on this side, and this side's going to kind of come down, and basically it's like old asphalt that I had left over. It says right about in here will be the, you know, the signal hut for the crossing electronics and everything, and then going down to gravel to go up along the railroad. So all right, that's the plan for now. Kind of get back to work here on this. Needs to be sanded and cleaned up and touch up paint on the crossing, I can tell, in the wood parts, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So, all right, let's keep working away at this. All rightly diddly do. Here's the road painted up. I actually went ahead and smoothed over the gap here with some fast and final on this side and that side. And it looks okay. And now it's blended in, it's really even kind of hard to tell it's there. And then I sprayed the road. Well, first I painted it with cheap acrylic paint. I used, okay, I had to grab it, so pardon the pause. Pavement by Apple Barrel. Now, I did actually kind of cut it with a little bit of antique white, because this is a pretty dark color. And then I made a mixture up and then painted it initially, which is kind of like that, kind of a grayish color. Not nearly as dark as back there, but still a gray color. And then I used the technique that I saw on Luke Towan's channel, which I know a lot of you know. Very good stuff. It's, I'll call it the spray bomb mist, which I was a little nervous about at first, because he worked in a diorama, and here I am on a layout, and if I spray something, it's going to be bad. So I went out and bought some of this satin eggshell. It's actually a shell white, they call it. It didn't have the exact same paint, but it doesn't matter. Just kind of an ivory or a, you know, eggshell white type of color. Then I misted it, and I think I overdid it at first. So then I came back in and misted some of the gray primer to kind of cut it a little bit. Then I decided to do a couple other spots with a little darker gray. Just can't leave well enough alone. And this is what you get. Now, to me, when I first looked at it, I thought, oh my God, it looks way too light. But looking at the prototype photo, it really isn't that bad. I mean, that road, and that's the actual road, it's a lot lighter than I thought. I think sometimes a lot of these asphalt roads are lighter than we think. Some are dark, I've seen them like that, but this road there is pretty light. So I mean, is it perfect? No. But now I'm still going to come back and probably, put some weathering powders on this, maybe some darker washes, because this does have some, I don't know if you're able to see it here, but there's some, discoloration here. I can see discoloration here where it's coming off the track. So there's, certain areas I'll want to do some darkening and weathering and whatnot. So I think it's going to eventually blend in okay. And overall, I do like the speckled look that you get. I don't think I did quite as good a job as Luke, but I don't know if I changed if that shows it any better or worse. Not really sure, but it definitely has a speckled look, which again, the real road definitely does have. One thing I noticed is my wood here. I'm sorry, yeah, this wood here might be a little bit too dark. Although, when I look at it, it doesn't look objectionable. It doesn't look like, oh my god, it looks terrible. So I might just leave it alone. Now, I still want to come back in and do the boop, 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 boop for the lag bolts. Probably will do that at some point in time. And then we're pretty much ready to get the gates in, set and to the right level, because they're all set to go. This is all leveled the way I wanted it. And it all leveled across from the road to the curb to where the gates are. So we're pretty much ready to get on to the real fun stuff and do the freaking mechanical stuff. All right, so I just want to show this real quick. And we'll see. I'm probably going to make a part 3 because this is getting long again. I keep going on too long. So we'll see. Let's do a little bit. Need to let this dry. I have to go out of town for business for a day or two. So try to get this part of it wrapped up and then start working on the actual linkages to drive the gates. Okay, road crossing. All right, to the point now where all the gates are now installed. In fact, the flashers are wired in. I had all that done. I tinned the wires and they're all hooked up. Now it's just a matter of getting the mechanical linkage installed, which I'm going to work on next. So I'm going to go ahead and get this up as a part 2. Really, to be honest, it kind of covers the road crossing itself and how I made it and a little bit of the thought process behind that with the sidewalks and some of the details and stuff. Part 3 will be the actual mechanical linkages and then the firing up and timing and the options for the PGCC card. So that'll be part 3. So the crossing, like I said, the crossings are pretty much done. Got all the wood in. I did go in and actually poke. I poked them. I poked it for the. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but I did for the lag bolts. The holes are in there across the wood in there. It's probably hard to see. It's even hard to see, but I did it just so it's there. Got the sidewalks, the strips of grass in, the little details there at the end of the sidewalks. So I kind of mentioned in that segment. I did decide to get this house actually installed because of the fact that now with this gate in, especially when the mechanical linkage is in and this thing actually stays up, or now it tends to fall, which already saved me once because I would have hit it. I wanted to be doing the least amount of reaching over that gate as possible, so I decided to get that house in. Used a piece of the Hecky 2mm grass mat, cut it out for the house, set it in, worked it in, with some dirt and stuff, and starting to do the ceiling. Not done yet. Got a lot more work to do there, but just wanted to get that in so a lot of the work is done and the finalization can come in later. Back here, I'm probably going to do some type of little driveway for them to a shed and some, who knows, a camper and stored stuff they have, typical kind of stuff that those rural homes have. This might be, as you can see here, I got some more teddy bear fur pieces. Might do a field there for teddy bear fur. I'm fighting the desire to put a building there, but the prototype out there in Lake City, Pennsylvania, that's all just a grass field. So I'm going to try to keep it that way. I'm fighting that siren song to add something to it. There will be a building here, some kind of industry. Right now, the siding is there. It kind of dies in the weeds, and there's no rail service whatsoever, but I want to have some kind of rail service. So I still need a lot of work to do in blending this in the scenery on this side. this side. And obviously this road will continue up and eventually match this road, which is buried in other stuff that comes up. And there's going to be a building, an industry right here. I have a lot of cleanup to do. I got junk everywhere, so that's one thing I got to get to. All right, anyway. So I think it came out pretty nice. Again, it's got the Smooth It. It's got some of the Fast and Final up the ramp. Smooth It, Smooth It. This is a piece of that 2mm craft foam. Smooth It, Smooth It. Another ramp out of the Fast and Final down to the Smooth It road. I don't know if it's a little excessive on the weathering of the road. We'll see. They're just some chalks, kind of give you some lines there, the traffic, and I added a little bit, like I'd seen on the prototype, of some dust and dirt coming up off the crossings and just different variations. Used some of the Vallejo washes and some of the MIG of ammo and Vallejo weathering chalks and weathering powders to weather things up a little bit. But as I said, this side here is going to come down to the little control housing for the siding. This side will just be some gravel up in between the turnout and the main line. So that is it. I'm trying to do a little flyby here, and I did paint again, use the striping pen for the lines. I actually masked that off and painted that. It's okay. Again, for some reason I just struggle with the striping pens. I don't really know why. I'm not sure if you can actually see the little holes that were poked there for the to simulate the lag bolts. But overall, it's coming together pretty nice. I'm not too upset with the way it looks. So, okay, let's wrap this puppy up, get it posted. So part 2 here, again, was kind of more of the road crossing work itself and a little bit of the scenery. And we'll forge ahead with part 3, coming to a YouTube channel near you. Actually coming to this YouTube channel near you. Hopefully in a couple days. I want to get that done and get it behind me and start moving on to other things I want to accomplish here. Alright, thanks for watching. More to come as we try to endeavor to get this crossing done, complete, and actually operational.